And we're joined right now by presidential candidate and, of course, U.S. Senator from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, welcome, sir.
Glad to be with you, Steve. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you back on the show. All right, first of all, we were just talking to Larry Klayman, who had a court overturn his victory in Klayman versus Obama in the NSA case where they accumulated raw data on Americans. Where do you stand on that, the reversal or the case in general? What's your position on the NSA's ability to collect raw data?
I think we've compromised this program. I thought the court ruling was absurd. I'm glad they've changed it. We're not listening to content without a warrant. We are tracking phone calls and using algorithms to see where terrorist activity may be heading. We're trying to get ahead of the terrorists before they hit us here at home. And I'm for one, if we've got a known terrorist on a phone or sending an email or communicating inside of America, I want to know who they're talking to and what they're talking about, and you go through the court to get that warrant. But shutting this system down, the damage has been done. Rand Paul's idea was even further than the bill we passed. He wanted to just completely do away with data mining and metadata, which I think is weakening our defenses. So I'm glad the court's gone the other way, but I think the damage has been done. I can tell you that this decision by the Congress to restrict this program, to limit what we can do in terms of tracking terrorists, is going to make it more likely we're attacked.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on. The campaign. There's a piece out today, not to be a negative Nelly or anything, but there's a piece out at Roll Call which asks the question in the headline, basically, how long can Lindsey Graham stay in the race? What are your plans? I had Rick Santorum, and I said, if you don't win Iowa, which you won 4 years ago, Senator Santorum, I said, if you don't come in first, second, or third, will you reevaluate? And he said, absolutely. Is there a goal that you have, or a point where you'll reevaluate if things don't go right?
Absolutely. Number one, anybody in their right mind would be crazy to get out of the race now because it's so fluid. And at the end of the day, this is going to be about substance over theater eventually, and we're going to be looking for a commander-in-chief. At least I hope we are. And when that search begins in earnest, I think I'm going to do well. I will win South Carolina if I do well in New Hampshire. My goal is to do well in New Hampshire. Can I break through in New Hampshire? Senator McCain's going to help me. He won twice up there. We're going to have a good time going around talking about getting out of debt and defending the nation against radical Islam. So, I have to get in the mix. With 17 people, it's hard, particularly when everybody talks about one guy. But here's what happens, I think, over time for me. As I get to meet people in New Hampshire, town hall by town hall, house party by house party, small group by small group, I've seen it happen with McCain. Fifth in a four-person race, John was, and people in New Hampshire got to know him. They understood my message is that we got to take the war to radical Islam, and we got to get off the path of becoming Greece, and here's how you do it. So, yeah, I feel really good about what we're doing here in New Hampshire. I got a really good staff. I've got a house party tonight. It's going to take a couple of months for this to show, but hopefully in a couple of months the payoff will be evident here in New Hampshire.
All right, I want you to hear something, and this will be the last time I'll mention his name, but here's what Donald Trump said about you yesterday.
I would not want to be him in running for office in South Carolina. I think he's been a terrible representative for South Carolina. And all he does is attack me. His whole line is to attack Donald Trump. And the beauty is he went down to 0 in the national polls. He got 0. That means out of thousands of people that are polled, he got nobody. I don't know how you can get 0. He made a very big mistake when he ran because the people of South Carolina are watching this farce, and I think they're very upset by it. You know, he has not been a good representative for South Carolina.
Short of the sword or the pistol, Senator, what's your response to Donald Trump?
Well, number one, Donald Trump's plan to destroy ISIL is the most ill-conceived, insanely dangerous idea I've ever heard. Worse than Obama. I never thought I'd hear myself say that there's a Republican running for office that's got a worse idea when it comes to radical Islam and Obama. So here's what's going to happen with Mr. Trump. People are going to say, well, is it really smart to go to Iraq and Syria and take their oil for our benefit? Will that destroy ISIL? I don't think so. I think ISIL loves Donald Trump's idea of having American soldiers taking Mideast oil for our benefit. How big a recruiting opportunity do you think that would be? It puts Israel, the King of Jordan, all our allies at risk. This is an insanely dangerous idea that will embolden ISIL and put everybody in the Mideast against us, turn our allies, put our friends at risk. That's just one example of why his campaign is not going to be successful, because if you knew anything about the Mideast, anything about destroying ISIL, you would never suggest that we're going to seize oil for the benefit of America in the Mideast. As to South Carolina, I just got elected last year in a 6-way primary. I won by 41 points. Donald Trump speaking to people's frustrations. I understand frustration. I've been trying to fix problems like immigration. I am the best prepared to be commander-in-chief.
Okay.
And we'll just see what happens.
And we'll continue. We're coming right back, Senator. Senator Lindsey Graham rejoins us. Don't go away, folks.